Hello, Internet. How have you been? I don't know how I am right now. I just got finished watching episode 1, season 11 of X Files. And yeah, what? Here's the thing. Um, it's I've loved this show for years and years and years. I was obsessed with it when it was originally running. And I think, we all in agreement. That's the actual word, agreement. That since season 6 or so, you know, uh, things are got a little stretched out, a little muddled. But there are times where it comes back and it feels like it's the old show again. It feels like it's full force. And one of the things I think I saw last night was this thing that they do every now and then, which is like, let's just take whatever's already pre-existing and jumble it up, see what happens. But what they don't normally do so directly is take something that you've already seen and add something new over to rejuxtapose it so um, obviously, like so overtly. I think the thing that happened tonight. All right, so that's it for me with the non-spoilery kind of thing. From here on, spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. Yeah, like I dug it. Let's just talk about the episode overall. I dug it. And coming out of the end, obviously blown away, but this twist at the end with the smoking man and the kid, that William and Dana, and it's like, okay, all right, all right, all right. I'm blown away. I can dig it. I can dig it. We're rewriting some shit. We're blowing some shit up. We're saying like nothing is safe, nothing is sacred, and then it works with, for me at the time when seeing it happen, I'm like, okay, that sounds like something he would do. I get how evil he is. Like some people might think that the Smoking Man, is only so evil as to murder, not false impregnate, possibly rape a character, because we've never seen him do that. And I think that's a blurring of the line of evil. It's like saying, I think you're evil enough to kill, but I don't think you'd rape. And I don't think he raped. I think that's the thing that they're doing here, right? They're trying to say that Dana, when he dragged Dana and coerced her into going away for a weekend with him, and during that weekend, now all these years later, we find out that he actually impregnated her with alien science. Science! And so it's like, okay, okay. For me, it holds. And so I saw a couple of things online where people were like, wow, this really changes Smoking Man into like, a really, a truly despicable person, as if he already wasn't, as if maybe he had a line. And I think he probably does. I don't think he would do the physical sexual assault, or even probably, I don't believe that he had, um, you know, got on top of her while she was unconscious. I believe that, like, if this is true, because he's always lying, let's not forget, but if this is true, then he had her impregnated while she slept, um, you know, um, medically, scientifically. So for me, I see rape in general, but what I don't see is that physicality of rape. I don't think that's in him. But I do believe this, to do this thing, is within him. The motivation behind it, the manipulation behind it, that stands for me, because I believe that if he's a character, let's not, pussyfoot around murder. Let's remember that he's a killer, a murderer, and he's definitely manipulated giant circumstances. So to kind of control a situation, he'll do just about anything. And I wouldn't put this type of thing past him. But I do agree that it is a thing that does kind of initially feel out of place for the character when you think of it as a physical assault type rape of, you know, man on woman insertion and all that stuff. I mean, I don't want to get into, I'm getting into the mechanics of that stuff, and that's not cool. But my point being that either way, what it comes down to with the Smoking Man is that he's fucked up. He's a motherfucker, and he's got a plan again. Another one of these mixed up kind of you know it's like a mashup of all previous plans. It's one of these things where he's. It's one of these things I think where he's kind of sitting around saying, "Oh, okay, how can I rework this now?" And I get that because I saw a lot of people kind of also saying like, "Oh, like here we go again." It's like kind of like a lot of half ideas of stuff that's already been there. It's not a true resetting of things, and it's not. It's kind of not like this whole thing now is about him saying, "Okay, what's going on now that I can work to my advantage, and how does that actually transpire?" And obviously, it's about saying, well, it turns out this kid, whether it is or not, is the chosen one. It's Neo. It's whatever. I just can't wait to see the kid, and like we get to the kid, and the kid's gonna be like, "Oh, this is crazy" for 2 seconds, and then he's gonna be all into it, or just running with them and just kind of buying into it. But then again, like he is kind of, who knows, some kind of superpower mentally kind of thing. Which brings me to a point I wanted to make for people. Like, if you haven't read the X-Files comics, this is actually issue 2, but this is not the one I wanted to grab. But season 11, quote unquote, of the comic that actually Carter worked with side by side, I want them to do stuff from that, because in that, Gibson Praise comes back. And he's the super powered mentally one. And I wonder how much of William is going to be similar. Obviously, the storylines are very different. Outside of the fact that Mulder and Scully come back, get pulled into things. But there's a nice run in the X-Files comic, season 11. Find your local comic shop, 1-800-comic book. But there's a great run in there of season 11. It's referred to as, and Gibson Praise comes back. And it's totally, feels like what they should be doing. Let's go back to the episode real quick. The episode moves at 100 miles an hour. It's got Chris Carter writing and directing, and I feel like that might be a thing. He's even said that he's not the greatest director on the show, but obviously, I guess to complete a vision, he feels like he's got to. I don't know. But so much happens in this episode, so much crammed in there in the first 10 minutes, 20 minutes, that just feels like a roller coastery thing of a lot of stretches and ridiculousness. But that's X-Files. I mean, it's a sci-fi show, basically, so it's got to bend the rules sometimes of logic. The fact that Scully's doctor was like,
"Hey, I've seen weird stuff before. I've got some experience. I'm pretty cool." Basically, I could get a spin-off of the Medics files or something. Just letting you know.
yeah, so that was a very convenient thing. Wasn't really too big on it. And then eventually, it kind of just rolls over. Scully takes such a beating in this episode. It started to feel like she was just a punching bag. And I can't imagine that there aren't conversations about, like, oh my God, we are really just giving her a hard time. I mean, maybe she was sidelined for more of the episode in the original draft, and someone said, no, we got to give her something to do. Like, she leaves the hospital, like, insisting, I gotta go. And they're like, no, don't go. And she's like, no, I gotta go. So she gets in the car and she goes, and then, like, she's so, fucked up still that she, almost crashes on her own, but she gets hit by a car. And it's like, and she ends up back in the hospital, same hospital where she was. So it's like all for nothing to give her something to do, kind of a feeling. So I wonder if it's only ended up as that, which feels empty and hollow, like in a response to an original idea of maybe having her only be in the hospital the whole episode. Sometimes I feel like things that don't make sense, like I'm willing to give it to the writers that maybe there was an attempt to fix an original idea that didn't kind of work out any better. I feel like a lot of times, like the CW shows sometimes end up in that hole. Either way, we're moving forward with this storyline now that you know, little smoking kid, I guess we'll call him, little Tommy Two Packs. He's got, he's got he's got the touch, he's got the power. He's gonna save every one of us. He's Neo for the next generation, and he's the goal. So they're wrapping this up for this episode where it's like, oh, don't worry, like if we don't find him right away, we know that he's looking for us. So in the meantime, let's have some side adventures, which is going to set us up for next week, I guess, where I'm sure it'll be an episode of, random weirdness they stumble into, those side storylines that we get in the X Files that are usually a ton of fun. And we'll dovetail in and out of the overall continuity storyline of the search for little Willie Smokingham. I guess, I don't know, what do you call that kid? Put that in the comments, folks. But this kid needs a nickname. I'm sure the internet's already got one. If it does, let me know what it is. Let me know what you think of this video. What did I miss? Should I really spend some more time on? If I do some more kind of popping in and out with the X-Files coverage, is that something you guys want to see? Did you enjoy this on any level? Did you hate it on any level? Give me a like if you liked it. Give me a dislike if you think I'm the enemy and you hate me. And I do think I should be stopped. And then, I don't know, keep an eye on the channel, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and look for something soon. I think I got something brewing. I got a couple things brewing. A couple of videos, I think. A couple things I'm looking to have some fun with. So keep an eye out for those. And find a podcast. And go find the podcast, Wicked Theory Podcast, wickedtheory.com. Take care, folks. The truth is out there, and I guess we got to keep looking. We're never going to find it. That's what they should change that to. The truth is out there, and it's obviously very far away because we keep trying to find it, and we're not getting there anytime soon.